The academy dorm was silent at night. Only the soft hum of the ventilation filled the long hallway. The human student, tired from his classes, had fallen into a deep sleep. His breathing was slow, his dreams quiet. He did not expect anything strange to happen. For him, this was just another ordinary night in a school filled with alien students. But suddenly, a heavy weight pressed down on him. He woke with a gasp, his eyes snapping open in the dark. His chest felt crushed and his heart raced. At first, he thought it was a nightmare. But then he saw the shape above him, something tall, strong. And not human had fallen onto his bed. The faint glow of the dorm light outside the window showed the outline of scales. The creature's long limbs twitched, and its glowing eyes stared down at him. It was his alien roommate, the one assigned to share his dorm space this year. The alien was bigger, stronger, and carried an aura of danger that always made others avoid him. The human froze, his mind shouted to push him away, to run, but before he could move, the alien groaned softly. His voice was rough, trembling with pain. He whispered something the human barely caught. "They are here." The human blinked, his fear mixing with confusion. Who was they? Why had his roommate collapsed on him? Was this a trap or a warning? The human's pulse hammered in his ears as he tried to understand. The alien struggled to rise, but his claws dug into the sheets. His scaled chest rose and fell heavily. He looked as if he had been running. His breath came fast, ragged, like he had escaped something. The human reached out without thinking, pulling the alien's arm to help him sit. The moment he touched the cold scales, a shiver ran through him. "Who's after you?" the human whispered, his voice shaking. The alien's eyes narrowed, glowing brighter in the shadows. He glanced toward the door as if expecting someone to burst inside. "Hunters!" he breathed. "They want me dead." The words sank into the human's mind like ice. He had heard rumors in the academy halls. Whispers of students from powerful alien families who carried dangerous secrets. Maybe this was true, maybe his roommate was one of them. The alien slumped back, his weight almost crushing the human again. His body trembled, not from weakness alone, but from fear. A strange silence fell between them, broken only by the alien's harsh breathing. The human felt trapped between fear and pity. He knew if someone dangerous was truly hunting his roommate, then he was also in danger now. Suddenly, a sound echoed in the hallway, a faint metallic click. Then footsteps, slow and heavy. The alien's head snapped up, his eyes wild. He pushed himself off the bed, standing tall despite his wounds. His claws extended, sharp and ready. The human's throat tightened. He could see the shadow of someone moving under the door crack. The alien turned to him quickly. "Stay quiet. Don't move," he ordered in a low growl. His voice carried both warning and protection. The human nodded, though his body trembled. He could barely breathe as the footsteps grew louder. Closer than silence, they waited. The air in the room felt heavy. The alien stood like a predator ready to strike, while the human sat frozen on the bed. Suddenly the shadow moved away, fading back down the hallway. The footsteps grew softer until they were gone. The alien exhaled sharply, his body loosening a little. But his glowing eyes stayed fixed on the door. "They know where I am," he said quietly. His voice carried a weight that made the human's skin prickle. The human swallowed hard. He wanted to ask more questions, but fear sealed his lips. One thing was certain. Whatever his roommate had dragged into this dorm room tonight was bigger, darker, and far more dangerous than anything he had imagined. And now he was part of it. The next morning, the human woke to a strange silence. His roommate's bed was empty, the sheets twisted as if he had left in a hurry. The memory of the night before pressed heavy on his chest. He tried to convince himself it had been a dream, but the faint scorch mark on the floor near the door told another story. Something real had happened, and it was not over. At breakfast, whispers followed him in the academy hall. Other students glanced at him, their alien eyes sharp and curious. He could feel their stares burning into his back. A few even muttered under their breath. "The human is cursed now," he clenched his fists. Refusing to look up, he didn't know what they meant, but the way they avoided his gaze filled him with unease. When he returned to the dorm, he found his roommate sitting on the floor. The alien's glowing eyes stared at nothing. His claws were curled into his palms. Drawing tiny drops of dark blood, the human froze at the door, uncertain if he should speak. Then, without looking up, the alien said in a voice low and raw, "I should not have fallen on you last night." The human swallowed, his throat dry. "You said someone was after you," he whispered. The alien turned his head slowly, his expression carrying both shame and exhaustion. "Not someone," he said. "An entire clan." The words sent a chill through the room. The alien finally stood, his tall frame casting a shadow over the human. "I am not just a student here," he admitted. "I was hidden here, forced to blend among others. But my enemies have found me." His voice broke for a moment, before hardening again. "And now, because you helped me, they will come for you too." The human's chest tightened. He stepped back, fear and anger mixing in his veins. "I didn't ask for this," he snapped. His voice cracked, but his roommate didn't flinch. The alien simply lowered his head, his glowing eyes softening with something close to regret. "I know," he murmured, "but you saved me anyway." For the first time, the human noticed the deep burned scars across the alien's side, wounds half hidden beneath the scales. He realized the attack last night had been far more serious than he thought. Someone had truly tried to kill him. The human's fear shifted slightly, turning into a dangerous curiosity. "Why are they after you?" he asked, his voice steadier now. The alien hesitated, his claws clicking softly against the floor. At last he said, "Because of what I carry." He tapped his chest, right over his heart. "It is something my people call the core flame. A power stolen from another world. It should not exist. But it is inside me. If they capture me, they will take it back. If they fail, they will kill me to destroy it." The human's mind spun. He had heard of weapons, of wars, but never of something like this. Something living inside a person. He looked at his roommate with wide eyes, torn between disbelief and fascination. "And last night?" he asked softly. "Was that them?" The alien nodded once, slow and heavy. "Hunters? From the old families they sent them to finish me quietly." He leaned closer, his shadow falling over the human again. "But they will not stop. They will return stronger and faster." The human felt his skin prickle. His instincts screamed to leave, to run, to tell the Academy Council. But some deeper part of him refused. Maybe it was fear of being labeled weak. Or maybe it was the strange bond formed in the fire of last night's chaos. Whatever it was, he whispered, "Then what do we do?" The alien blinked at him, surprise flashing in his glowing eyes. For a moment, silence hung between them. Then he said quietly, "We survive together." The human didn't answer, but his heart pounded. Something had shifted. He could feel it deep inside, from the moment of that midnight crash to this strange confession. His life was no longer his own. A path had opened before him, filled with danger and secrets he was not ready to face. And yet he knew there was no turning back. That night, the human tried to sleep, but his mind was restless. Every sound in the hallway made his heart jump. He kept replaying his roommate's words about the core flame inside him. If what the alien said was true, then danger could strike at any moment. The human finally drifted into uneasy sleep, but he did not stay there long. A faint noise woke him. It was not loud, but sharp, like metal scraping softly against stone. He sat up in his bed, holding his breath, in the darkness. The room felt heavier, colder. His eyes adjusted slowly. And then he saw it, his roommate standing near the window, his glowing eyes fixed on the shadows outside, his claws flexed, ready. "Stay quiet," the alien whispered without turning. His voice was tight, his body moved with the grace of a predator. The human swallowed hard, his throat dry. He strained his ears. And then he heard it too, the faint tap of boots moving along the outside wall. Slow, deliberate, before the human could react, the window cracked. A thin beam of red light cut through the glass. Searching the room like a hunter's gaze, the alien shoved the human down flat on the floor. Shielding him with his scaled body, the human's chest slammed into the ground, his heart pounding against the cold tiles. He could hear his roommate's breath, slow, steady, controlled, like he had done this before. The red beam vanished. Silence returned for a moment. Then, without warning, the door burst inward with a hiss. Shadows poured in, tall figures cloaked in black, their weapons glowing faint blue. Their faces were hidden behind masks. Their movements were fast, too fast. The human barely had time to crawl back before one of them lunged forward. The alien roared, his voice shaking the walls. He met the first attacker head-on, claws striking against the glowing blade, sparks scattered in the darkness. The human stared, frozen, as the fight unfolded. His roommate moved like a storm, every strike powerful, every movement precise. Yet for every enemy he cut down, another appeared from the hallway. The human's instincts screamed to hide, but his body refused. He crawled toward the overturned desk, searching desperately for something, anything. His hands closed around a piece of shattered glass from the broken window. It was small, sharp, and useless against trained hunters. But it was all he had. One of the masked hunters spotted him. The figure raised its weapon. A thin spear of blue energy shot forward. The human gasped, ready to die. But in an instant, the alien shoved him aside. The spear burned across his roommate's shoulder, leaving smoke rising from his scales. The alien snarled, his glowing eyes blazing with fury. He struck the attacker with such force that the figure slammed against the wall and crumpled. The human's chest heaved, his mind spun with fear and disbelief. He had never seen anything like this. His roommate wasn't just defending, he was fighting with a desperation that came from knowing death was certain if he failed. Then something happened that made the human's blood run cold. One of the hunters shouted in a language he did not know, and suddenly their weapons shifted. Instead of aiming at the alien, they aimed at him, the human. He froze. His body went stiff. He realized in that moment he was no longer just a bystander. The hunters wanted him too. Perhaps because he had touched the alien last night. Perhaps because the core flame had marked him somehow. Whatever the reason, he was now a target. The alien's head snapped toward him. His voice broke into a growl. "Run!" he commanded. But before the human could move, the hunters advanced, their glowing blades raised. The alien roared again and unleashed a surge of strength. His claws sliced through the nearest attackers, but there were too many. The human's heart pounded louder than the fight itself. He knew he could not escape this night unchanged. He had stepped into something ancient, something far beyond his understanding. The attack was not just against his roommate anymore. It was against them both. The dorm room was destroyed. Smoke rose from the walls, scorch marks spread across the floor. The human sat against the corner, his chest rising and falling quickly. His hand shook as he held a cut on his arm. His roommate stood in the center, blood dripping from his scales. His glowing eyes burned with rage and fear. No guards came, no alarms sounded. It was strange. The academy should have responded, but it was silent. The human realized with horror that someone inside must have allowed the hunters to enter. They were not just breaking in, they had been invited. The alien turned, his shadow falling over the human. His voice was heavy. "We cannot stay here. They will come again. And stronger." The human wanted to argue, but deep inside he knew it was true. He nodded slowly, his throat tight. "Where do we go?" he whispered. The alien hesitated, then lowered his head closer. His voice dropped into a near growl. "There is a place hidden under this academy, a vault sealed centuries ago. It holds a weapon, one that was forbidden, one that should never be touched. But it is our only chance." The human's heart skipped. A forbidden weapon? Why would such a thing exist under a school? He shook his head quickly. "If it's forbidden, we can't use it," he said. "The council will kill us if they find out." The alien's eyes narrowed, glowing sharper in the dim light. "The council is already killing us," he replied coldly. "Do you not see? They are part of this." The words struck the human like a blade. If the council was involved, then nowhere was safe. His roommate stepped closer, his towering frame tense but steady. "You have something they do not," he said. "You are human. The locks of the vault respond only to human touch." The human blinked, his breath catching. "What?" he whispered. His roommate's voice lowered further. "The weapon is not alien. It was made by your people. Long before your world joined the stars, that is why they brought you here. That is why they watch you." The ground beneath the human felt like it shifted. His world tilted. The idea that humanity had once created something powerful enough to be hidden terrified him. He shook his head. "I'm just a student," he said weakly. "I can't—" The alien cut him off, his voice sharp. "You can. You must. If you do nothing, they will take me, they will kill you, and then they will burn this academy to the ground to cover it all." Silence filled the ruined dorm. The human felt trapped between fear and destiny, his pulse hammered in his ears. He looked into his roommate's glowing eyes and saw something there he hadn't noticed before. Not just fear, but trust. "Finally," he whispered. "Where is the vault?" The alien's lips pulled back in something between relief and pain. "Beneath the archives," he said, "through tunnels that even teachers fear to enter. They say the air there eats the soul, but it is only a lie to keep students away." The human's stomach twisted. Every step forward felt like stepping into darkness. Yet he knew there was no turning back. He stood, ignoring the pain in his arm. His voice was firm despite the fear burning inside him. "Then show me." His roommate nodded once, his claws curled tightly. "From this moment we are bound," he said. His words sounded more like a vow than a warning. The human felt the weight of it settle over him. This was no longer about survival. It was about something bigger, something hidden deep within his own kind's forgotten past. And so, with the dorm room still smoldering behind them, the human and his alien roommate stepped into the unknown, toward a forbidden alliance that could change the galaxy forever. The hidden tunnels beneath the academy were colder than night. The walls dripped with moisture, and every echo of their footsteps seemed too loud. The human kept close behind his roommate, his heart racing with every turn they took. The air smelled of dust and iron. As if time itself had been locked away down here, they passed old carvings on the walls. Strange symbols that glowed faintly when the human's hand brushed near. The alien watched with narrowed eyes. "Do you see?" he whispered. "This place responds to you." The human pulled his hand back quickly, but deep inside he felt something stir, a strange pulse, as though the tunnels were alive and waiting. Finally, they reached a sealed gate. Taller than both of them, its surface was black stone. Smooth and heavy, in the center was a mark, a circle with lines spreading out like a star. The alien stepped aside, his glowing eyes fixed on the human. "Touch it," he said firmly. The human's hand trembled as he reached forward. The stone was cold against his palm. For a moment, nothing happened. Then light exploded from the mark, spreading like fire through the lines. The gate rumbled, dust falling from the ceiling. The air shook as though the vault itself had been holding its breath. The stone doors groaned and slid open, revealing a vast chamber inside. At its heart stood a pillar of crystal, glowing faint blue. The human stepped forward slowly. Drawn by the light, his chest tightened with every step. His breath grew shallow. He could feel the hum of energy in his bones. The alien followed close, his claws ready. "This is it," he whispered. "The weapon." But as they approached, the human realized it was not a weapon in the way he expected. It was not a blade, not a cannon, not even armor. It was a sphere of pure energy floating above the crystal, pulsing like a beating heart. When the human drew near, the sphere flared bright. The alien hissed and stepped back, shielding his eyes. But the human could not look away. His hand lifted on its own, as though pulled by invisible strings. The moment his fingers touched the sphere, the world exploded in light. He saw flashes, images racing through his mind, a battlefield filled with ships burning, human soldiers standing against endless alien armies, a hand like his gripping the same sphere, unleashing power that tore the sky apart. He gasped, stumbling. His knees hit the floor. But the sphere stayed in his grasp, its energy flowing into him. The alien's voice cut through the storm of visions. "Let go!" he shouted. But the human could not. The energy surged into him, filling every vein. His skin glowed faintly. His heartbeat matched the pulse of the sphere. His screams echoed in the chamber. But they were not of pain. They were of something far stranger, awakening. The alien stared in shock, his glowing eyes wide. "Impossible," he muttered. "The core flame has chosen you." The human fell back, gasping for air. His body shook. But he felt stronger, sharper, his senses clearer. The sphere hovered above him, dimmer now, as if it had given a part of itself away. He looked at his trembling hands, faint lines of light glowing beneath his skin. Before he could speak, a loud sound shook the chamber. The sealed door behind them slammed open. Figures poured in, hunters more than before, their weapons glowing bright. Their leader stepped forward, his mask pulled back, revealing cold eyes filled with hate. "Step away from it," he commanded, "or die where you stand." The human's chest rose and fell as he pushed himself to his feet. His roommate growled beside him, claws ready. For the first time, the human did not feel weak. The energy still hummed in his blood, waiting to be unleashed. He glanced at his alien friend and whispered, "Let's show them." The chamber shook with the weight of footsteps. The hunters spread out in a circle, their glowing weapons aimed at the human and his alien roommate. The energy sphere floated faintly above the crystal pillar, its light dim after what it had given. The human's hand still glowed faintly, a reminder that part of its power now lived inside him. His heart pounded, but he stood firm. The alien stepped close, claws stretched, eyes burning. They were ready to fight. The hunter's leader raised his blade, his voice cold. "The flame is not yours, human. Hand it over and I may let you die quickly." Before the human could answer, a calm voice echoed through the chamber. "Enough!" Everyone froze. From the back of the hunters, a tall figure stepped forward, his cloak marked with the academy's crest. His face familiar, his voice unmistakable. It was their own teacher, the one who had taught them about history and honor. The human's chest tightened. "Professor?" he whispered. The alien snarled. His claws twitching, the teacher walked slowly, his eyes shining with quiet power. "You should not have come here," he said. "This place is not for you." Confusion and betrayal stabbed through the human. This was the man who had once praised his progress, who had encouraged him to believe he belonged in the academy. Now he stood with the hunters. "Why?" the human demanded, his voice shaking. The professor smiled faintly. "Because humans were never meant to rise," he said coldly. "Your kind was given a place here only to be watched. The core flame was hidden, sealed away, but now you have broken the seal, and you have forced my hand." The alien bared his teeth, his voice a growl. "So it was you! You let the hunters into the academy." The professor did not deny it. "I guided them," he said smoothly, "because the flame does not belong to you. It belongs to the council. It belongs to the galaxy. And I will not allow a human and a traitor to corrupt it." The words cut deep. The human's chest burned with anger. His roommate growled low, stepping in front of him. But the professor raised his hand, and the hunters stopped, waiting. He did not even look afraid. He knew something the others didn't. The professor's gaze fixed on the human. "Do you feel it?" he asked softly. "The power inside you. It is not a gift. It is a curse. It will eat you alive, and when it does, I will take what remains." The human's hands shook. Glowing brighter as his emotions surged, he remembered the visions, the human armies, the burning skies, the destruction. His breath came fast. Was it true? Was the power inside him dangerous even to himself? Doubt tore at his mind. The alien sensed it. He grabbed the human's arm, his claws pressing gently against his skin. "Do not listen," he said, his voice fierce. "He fears you. That is why he lies. The flame has chosen you." "Not him," the professor's eyes narrowed. His calm mask cracked into anger. "Foolish beast," he spat. "You think standing with a human makes you strong? You will die beside him, and the galaxy will forget you both." The hunters stepped forward again. Weapons raised. The chamber was filled with the hum of energy. The human's pulse raced. His mind screamed with fear, betrayal, and anger. He finally understood. The professor had been guiding them all along, shaping their steps, waiting for the moment the human would awaken the power. And now he wanted to claim it. The human's voice came out low, steady despite the storm in his chest. "No," he said. "You will not take it." His hands glowed brighter, filling the chamber with light. The hunters shifted uneasily, but the professor only smiled. "We will see," he whispered. The stage was set for a battle not just of strength, but of loyalty, trust, and the truth of what humanity was meant to become. The chamber was filled with light and shadows. The professor stood tall, his cloak rippling as energy gathered in his hand. The hunters waited in silence, their weapons humming. The human stood in the center, his glowing hands trembling. The alien at his side snarled, claws ready. The air between them felt ready to break. The professor's voice rang out cold. "This is your last chance. Surrender the flame and I will end this quickly." The human's chest tightened. He could feel the core flame burning in his blood. Whispering, calling. The visions returned, armies burning, ships falling, skies tearing apart. He staggered, clutching his head. The alien grabbed his shoulder firmly. "Look at me," he growled. His glowing eyes locked onto the human's. "The flame does not control you. You control it." The human's breath steadied. The doubt in his chest eased. He nodded slowly. The professor raised his hand and the hunters charged. Blue light flared as their weapons cut through the air. The alien leaped forward with a roar, slashing into the first wave. Sparks and screams echoed across the chamber. The human lifted his hands, energy bursting outward like a storm. The walls shook, the floor cracked, the hunters stumbled as the blast tore through them. The professor's eyes widened for the first time. His calm smile faltered. "Impossible," he hissed. "You are only a child." But the human stood taller, the light burning brighter around him. "No," he said firmly. "I am human." The fight raged. The alien fought like a beast unleashed, his claws dripping with sparks of broken energy blades. The human moved with growing strength, each pulse of power knocking back enemies. Their movements flowed together, human and alien fighting as one, covering each other's weaknesses. Their bond was no longer uncertain, it was unbreakable. The professor finally stepped into the battle. His hand glowed with dark energy. He struck the alien across the chest, sending him crashing to the floor. The human shouted, rage burning in his throat. His glowing hands surged with power. He slammed them down, a wave of energy blasting the professor back. The ground split open. Dust filling the air, the professor rose. Blood at his lips, but fury in his eyes. "You cannot win," he snarled. "The council will send armies, fleets, entire worlds to take what you carry." The human's voice was steady. "Then let them come," he said. "I won't run." "Not anymore." The professor lunged, his energy clashing with the human's light. The chamber shook violently, crystals cracked. The sphere above them pulsed, as if alive. The alien struggled to his feet, blood dripping down his scales. With a final roar, he leaped. Striking the professor from behind, the human unleashed all the energy in his body at once. The explosion of light swallowed the chamber. The hunters screamed, their weapons shattering. The professor's cry was lost in the roar of energy. When the dust finally cleared, silence filled the room. The hunters were gone. Only ash and broken steel remained. The professor's body lay crumpled, his cloak burned to tatters. The human collapsed to his knees, gasping. His body ached, his hands still glowing faintly. The alien stumbled beside him, falling hard, but still alive. Their eyes met, both broken, both breathing. The alien's voice was rough but steady. "You are no longer just my roommate," he said. "You are my brother." The human's throat tightened. His heart pounded, for the first time since the crash that started it all. He felt something stronger than fear. He felt belonging. He nodded, whispering, "We stand together, far above." The academy remained silent, but whispers would soon spread. The hunters had failed. A professor had fallen. And the core flame now burned inside a human. The galaxy would not ignore this. Armies would march, councils would plot, but none of that mattered in this moment, because in the ruins of the forbidden chamber, a human and an alien stood side by side, bound by trust, fire, and an unbreakable bond that would change everything.